Nicole O'Neill once said, when you find the courage to use your voice, it has the power to positively inspire and change the lives of others. It is one of the special gifts you have to offer the world. It is something to be cherished and championed, never hidden. And that is why we are here on Your Voice, Your Impact. I am the energetic EJ. I am a life and transformational coach, and I work with women aged 40 and above to turn their abandoned dreams into achievable goals by activating their voice for impact. I'm also a podcaster and an event host. On this show with me is
great, so amazing. The goal of this show is to help people use their voices to create impact. I am a physicist and a life coach. What I do for my clients is I help them build systems to achieve their goals whilst having fun doing it. On this show, we discuss topical issues that can inspire you to move. Like, subscribe, and share. Welcome aboard.
Right. Welcome on board. Welcome to another episode on Your Voice, Your Impact. I hope you're doing well. We're glad to have you here today, joining us live again. So depending on where you're connecting from, whether on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or Instagram, please feel free to say hi in the comment section so that we can know that you're here with us today. October is such a beautiful month. It feels like, I don't know who did the meeting and they placed all the different types of wellness, let's just put it like that, wellness celebrations in this month of October. And so we have a couple of those coming up. So we will be having some pop-up sessions throughout October, touching on some of these things. I think we missed one just yesterday. Let me bring on Grace. I think I saw her do a video about it, I think on the 10th, about the World Mental Health Day. So let's just talk about that briefly, and then we'll get into the conversation for the day. Hello, Gracie. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. You look beautiful.
Thank you. Grazie.
Yes, indeed. The 10th of October every year is the day set aside to create awareness. There's the buzz out there. Mental health, but that day categorically is the day that, all mental health practitioners come out to create that awareness and remind people that, look, there's something called mental well-being. And there is also something called mental illnesses. And there's something called stigmatization. So the major reason why that particular day is used for awareness is to help people understand everything, the 360 around mental health, and this year's the theme was on emergencies, mental health emergencies, and how, services can be available for people. I was even going to say that, when they talk about things, people talk about a lot of things, and many people still don't know about that thing. They just hear about it, but really they don't know the onions, so that's part of why we do this year in, year out, to let people know what it is about.
I love it. And it's just interesting when I saw, all the things that are lined up for October, October 10th. I think October 8th also was the day of the girl child, I think. Yes. October 10th is mental health day. Then October 18th, next weekend, is menopause something day. So we're gonna have a guest.
Cancer awareness in October.
Yes, cancer awareness. Yes.
So there's a lot. Maybe I don't know why that day was picked, but I think October is power packed, more like power packed.
Right. I agree. Okay, I'm gonna say hi to our peeps shouting out, hey Armita, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And I see you, Usman Salami from LinkedIn. Thank you so much. Um, Usman is like, I want a shout out for joining in. We see you, Usman. We see you. Thank you for joining us today. And we hope that you will stay with us so that you can stay part of the conversation. We would love to hear your bits on what we're talking about today. And I love what Stefania did when she made a post about it on LinkedIn. She didn't just post about it, she added a task to it to say, see, we're talking about this thing, how you can turn frustration into superpower. And so you come up with your question. What questions you have around that? Have you experienced, a frustrating, situation before? So we would love to hear your own part of the story or your experience. So please stay with us in the comment section because it's going to be an interesting conversation. But yeah, we're talking about the month of October. So we'll try as much as possible to kind of leverage the month and speak to all some of these topics around, mental health, just general wellness as well. I was at an event this morning, like a coffee meetup, and I spoke to said she's an art psychotherapist or something like that. Art psychotherapy. So I think she does her psychotherapy through art. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I thought that I would reach out to you in case if you're interested, we can also have on one of the pop-up sessions so we can really talk about these things. Even if we have the dates mixed up, we just know that the whole of October is dedicated to wellness. And so we can talk about all the different types of mind, body, soul, and see, people who have something to say in that regard. We'll bring them on for our pop-up session this month. So be on the lookout for that. And if you're watching this and you know somebody who would like to share, who is passionate about health and they probably like to share, please reach out to us or send our contacts to them so they can reach out to us. Or if you would like us to talk about something specific, then we can then maybe look for somebody who is an expert in that space to invite them on the show. Thank you, Usman, for being here. We appreciate you. All right, now, before we go into the conversation, how was your weekend? Mine was crazy, but we're here. Thank God.
Yeah, mine was just there, nothing spectacular. I did my regular morning and I rested. Oh, okay. I rested. I rested all through. I just did Saturday morning, regular workout, and then all through the day I told myself, rest, rest. There was this tiny
Right.
headache that was just somewhere, and it was
Nagging.
just yes, it was just there. And for me, whenever I feel that way, I know is that okay, rest. I just rest and it disappears. And
That's
that
good.
was it for me.
I love that. This thing you just said, I used to experience it a lot before. Like the first thing that comes if I'm feeling like weak or whatever, sleep it off. Once you have a long, deep sleep, you're good. You're good. And honestly, I feel like that's why our bodies are really, important and they do a work of healing themselves if we allow them to do that work. And
Absolutely.
so that's really interesting. Okay, I have a comment from Instagram. Armita says her weekend was amazing. She went to Tomorrowland. Where is Tomorrowland? And what happens there? That sounds like the future. Where is Tomorrowland and what happens there? Please let us know and share that with us. All right. So today we're talking about redefining frustration. When I was making the post on our Instagram page today, I think LinkedIn should look into that. I know it's a very serious platform, but they should kind of add audio to their thing as well, so that we can add some of this speech. I kind of like Instagram for that, but I love TikTok more for that because TikTok is a bit more flexible with adding music, to whatever you're posting. But I have a habit of if I want to post something, any message, oh, okay. So hold that thought. And Mita says Tomorrowland is a techno festival. I can imagine it's just going to be two all through. But thanks for sharing that, Armita. Yeah, so I have this habit of when I want to post something on Instagram, I search for a keyword in line with what I want to post so that I'll see if I can get like a music that suits that post. And that's what I did today. When I heard, I saw a couple of songs about frustration, but the one I picked I love what he was saying because almost in alignment with what we're talking about. But when I was doing that in my head, I was like, this is Monday morning. Somebody will see this and be like, I don't understand. Why are we talking about frustration on a Monday? Grace, are you still with me? You look frozen. Oh no, I thought as much, right? I was like, I'm wondering, like people will be wondering, like, why are we talking about frustration on a Monday morning? And just as we got on here, Grace was like, when I heard the song, I'm like, wait, why are we talking about frustration? But that's the whole point. We're looking at how can we redefine frustration. And our guest today, Stefania Brunori, is going to take us on a journey about how she was able to convert or transform or translate her frustration into power, into a more thriving career for her. And so we're looking forward to that conversation, looking forward to meeting Stefania, hearing her story, but more importantly, learning from her own journey. Grace, welcome back. What did you hear me say last? Because I was like, you are too frozen for my liking.
And literally, immediately you said, hold that thought, literally the network just held the thought so seriously. And then it disappeared. And I said, okay.
Sorry about that. Serious. I was saying that I was explaining how I came about the music that I chose on Instagram. And to say that when I was picking that particular song in my head, I was like, people will be wondering, like, on a Monday morning, who are we talking about frustration? And so when you said that,
our comment section is on fire today.
It's coming today. I love it. Exactly. So let's give you some airtime. Hello, nice to meet you too, Funmilayo, and we're happy to have you here and absolutely open to new connection. Please, send us a connection request on LinkedIn since you're connected on LinkedIn. Anyway, without further ado, let's bring on our gorgeous guest. She's beautiful. So are you ready to meet our guest today? Let us bring her on. Hello, Stefania. How are you doing today?
Hello, energetic EGA.
Yes.
Fantastic. I'm not frustrated as I used to be on Mondays.
I love it. I love the sound of that. Whoa, It's good to know that you are fantastic. So welcome on the show. We're going to kick off by giving you airtime to say, introduce yourself in the way that you would love for people who are watching this right now or who will watch this later to say, that person is interested. So you have your time to introduce yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you. It's always easier when someone else introduces us. But I would summarize it saying that I support purpose-driven leaders and organizations to spread their message and to have a wider impact using personal branding, leadership, and emotional intelligence with some magic of marketing. That's in a nutshell what I do after almost 30 years of professional international experience. And we will get there, I guess.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so now it's about what you do. Tell us something about Stefania. You personally, something fun, something that would be like, wait, what? Give it to us.
Something fun. Well, I don't know how fun is that, but I started doing theater at the age of 4, really not as a professional. So something that we did all the kids in the neighborhood. Little did I know at that time that would help me later on. But I do really like being on a stage. And I guess it's because I started really young. So for me, it's not like the first time that I go to a stage, it was professional. I was playing, I was having fun. And this is one of my passions currently.
I love it. I mean, you are a 2-time TEDx speaker. So of course, you're falling in love with being on stage, and that doesn't scare you anymore. And that's beautiful to know. So thank you and welcome to the show today. Now we're talking about redefining frustration. First of all, take us on a journey to define what frustration means to you, all right? So that you give us a backdrop of what you felt like and then how you redefined it for yourself. And then I'll come back to the comments. I see the comments. Please keep the comments coming. We will acknowledge you in a bit. Please go for it, Stefania.
There are two sides really to frustration. One is, of course, that you are facing a block that you cannot go through. And in front of that, I mean, you were asking me some of my passions, and I started doing yoga and meditation more than 25 years ago, and that has really transformed me. And in front of our frustration, we can continue hitting our head in front of the frustration, wanting to change what we don't like. But really the first step is to accept that that exists. So frustration equals a block that we have in front of us. And then the first step is to accept that it does exist. And from that, there are two alternatives. One is to learn how to cope with that as something temporary, I would say. Another one is to give up and say, frustration, I leave. Then probably you don't learn too much, and then this frustration will keep on coming later. And the third is to make a plan. Okay, there is a frustration. I acknowledge it. I'm going to learn how to cope with it, but for a while, because I have another goal. Of course, now this is very summarized and without adding the pain that sometimes, and most of the times, the frustration adds, especially if you are an energetic person, a go-getter, that you don't let any frustration or any limitation be the one that directs what you want to achieve, right? As an achiever, you really want to go there, you want to go there. But one of the biggest lessons for me that I'm really a determined person was to know when to give up.
I love that. I love that. like a round circle. I love that. First of all, I love how you gave us the 3 dimensions, to frustration. Would I say dimensions or the response? 3 responses to frustration. First, acknowledging that it's there. Second, accepting that it's there. And third is, okay, what do we do about it? Do we want to run? Do we want to give up? Do we want to say no? Do we want to then cope for a while, but have a bigger plan that is sustainable to help us achieve our goals eventually? And I think I love that. Thank you for sharing. Before I pass the mic on to Gracie, I just want to acknowledge the comments that came in from Osama. I think he's just kind of sharing his own experience with frustration. And he says, I've had my fair share of frustration this year. It happened at the second quarter of the year when I lost my job. One thing I'm happy I did during that time is quickly moving on from it. I realized I could do more on my own than clinging to the next thing. So I turned the story around and started improving on my skill, got a better job. Also, I learned to not be in one spot for a long time. Basically, not to relax due to reaching a new height. It is a forever goal to become an entrepreneur. Wow, that is a beautiful response there. Thank you so much, Usman, for sharing that. I think that's such a beautiful way to look at it. And I'm sure Stefania is going to speak on to that a little bit more later on as we go. But for now, I'm going to pass on the mic to Grace for her to take the conversation further.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. But before I proceed, I want to. We know Stephanie. Stephanie is a very popular name, But I had to ask you to pronounce your name, Stefania. So I'm just out of curiosity. Can you tell us where you're from and how, your surname? I'm trying to guess, but I'm not getting it. But I would love to know where you're from.
Do not worry, because usually nobody gets it fully. Because I am
Okay.
Spanish Italian. I was born in Spain, lived most of my life in Spain, my childhood, but my dad is Italian. So both my name and my surname are Italian. If the name was in Spanish, it would be Stefania. But in this case, it's
Oh.
Italian, so it's Stefania. But people are really confused when they meet me because I don't look like Spanish. So funny situations, people sitting next to me speaking Spanish, thinking that I cannot understand them because probably I'm Dutch or German, and I can understand the whole conversation.
And I bet when they're done and you just drop one word or one Spanish they'll be like, oh my goodness.
No. Once I had to tell them, look, guys, I mean, it's not that I want to listen to your conversation, but you are sitting next to me. I can understand everything that you are saying. So if you really want to have it private, just maybe probably move to another table because I'm understanding everything that you are telling about your lives to each other. And they cracked laughing. Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. And I mean, I think I'm going my question is going to start from that axis, because when we talk about, there's something, I don't know if you believe in duality, nature, duality in nature, and there's always the good side, or the not bad per se, but there are two sides to a coin. So using frustration as our key theme for today, I would like for you to talk to someone talking about the qualities of frustration that one can tap into to their advantage. What are the qualities of frustration that you can say, negative, positive, if you were to itemize them? What would they be?
Now that you were asking me about the nationality, I realized something that can come with the frustration, and it will help me to reply to that. So the fact that having that dual nationality, right, it made me different since I was born, right? Because I come from a small place, everybody is born in the same city, usually both parents come from the same city. So obviously there is a fun part about seeing your grandparents twice per year in Italy, traveling there. But talking about frustration, there is also that thing that makes you different, that sometimes make you not click with the others. And replying to your question on the gift or the power of frustration is that when you don't click, when you don't fit, when something is different, when you can see things in a different way than the rest of the people, and definitely you feel that there is something strange, at least, or that nobody gets you, there is the positive part of the frustration is that there is a talent in there that you have that is dormant, that is still sleeping, but you can tap into it instead of falling into the frustration that I cannot do this, I cannot be in this group. Maybe the frustration is telling you that you are meant for something bigger for yourself, not saying bigger for others, because the frustration is yours. But definitely there is something there hidden that is going to, if you know how to manage it well, is going to give you plenty of opportunities in the future. Because definitely, if you were fitting, if you didn't see that block, if you were saying yes, sir, in a company, there wouldn't be frustration because you wouldn't feel the pain as well that subconsciously you are meant for something better for you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then
Well,
to your question, yeah.
yeah, I mean, the sort of, I mean, you'd expanded even when I was talking about, some of the qualities of frustration and the different sides. But then again, you touched on it, and it makes a lot of sense. So the next question I want to ask you is, for 30 years, you worked in I mean, you have this experience for 30 years. And our theme, our big theme, the bigger part of our theme is career. I want you to tell us, because I mean, which area did you work in this 30 years, and what did you learn that you now apply it in what you do as a personal branding strategist. So what were the key things that you took away from your 30 years of working in a
How many hours of podcast do you have? Because this is impossible to summarize. Okay, I'll do my best to give a specific response. The start of my career, it was something that I was not looking for. I have a business degree by education. Then later on, I studied design. I started in banking, and it was the best job for many people, but a pain for me from month 2. I resigned because there was no creativity for me there. Okay. So from there, my career started in marketing. I was always given bigger responsibilities than the role was. And even if I take a step back, even before my first job, I joined an international marketing course as a student. And funny enough, what happened is that they did a selection for the students because there were many people applying. And they asked me if I could deliver one of the modules as a teacher. So it's happened from the beginning of my career that they have always given me bigger responsibilities. Okay. So I leave the bank, I go to a new company. I am in charge of the marketing department, of creating a marketing department from scratch. But they also needed someone in HR. So they proposed me to take some of the tasks as well of the HR department, which, seeing it from now, it totally makes sense, because what I do in personal branding is that I mix what I know in marketing, what I know in coaching, and what I know in design. So again, it's really funny how some other people see you before you can even see yourself. When they proposed me to do things related to HR, I was like, well, first, of course, you will have to pay me more because I'm going to manage 2 roles, right? But yeah, I wasn't sure really what they were giving this. And through the years, I have understood. I'm not going to name each of the companies because that would take a lot of time. But let's say that it's been marketing mostly from A to Z, from a strategy to planning to implementing, executing, and at the same time from all the areas in marketing, name it, branding, PR, events, brand activation. So that's given me that solid knowledge on how to create a brand, how to launch it, and how to maintain it. Then I started coaching as well. And it seems that with those skills that I already had that I didn't know at that time, is how I incorporate the coaching and the leadership part and the purpose in the personal branding that I do, even with the trainings that I deliver for executives. And then, of course, the part of design that I've been using across all the roles in marketing, because the visual part and the tangible part of a personal brand is crucial as well. So that's across all the different, would say, roles and companies, whether they have been multinationals or they have been SMEs, startups, regional, international. They have given me also these different gears that you need with personal branding, because at the end of the day, I work with many different types of professionals, people who are in a multinational and they want to reach another big multinational, but in a different region, people who are launching their own startup. So let's say that I can relate to all those different people that come with support, asking for support in their personal brand, because I've been in all the stages. I've been an employee, I've been changing companies, I've launched my own company, I've worked for an SME. So all those experiences really make me flexible to understand the clients from different perspectives as well.
Absolutely, and very robust in the way that you approach even personal branding now, right?
Yes.
Thank you so
And
much for sharing. Yeah, say
and
that.
understand really their frustrations, because we are talking here about the frustrations,
Exactly,
right? I can really
exactly.
relate
You can
to
feel
the
their
pain
pain.
points.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love it. So we're going to come back to this issue of frustration. And especially, I wanted to paint like a vivid picture of what it was for you and how you were able to deal with it. But before we go there, there is a question here from one of our viewers saying that she said, Funmilayo says, I realized that frustration can be in some simple discourse, like difficulty in completing normal tasks. I think it's a mental thing. What do you think? And how do you overcome it quickly? Are you able to take a stab at that? So is frustration a mental thing? And how do you overcome it?
I mean, we would need to understand a bit more, right?
Right.
How this person is feeling the frustration.
Mm.
In any case, understanding yourself is the first step. Each brain works in a different way. Each person has different skills and abilities. Some people like repetitive tasks. Some others, we hate them. Some people excel really at admin tasks. Some other people don't like it. So it's really important to understand ourselves. I recently realized what I've always done is to always listen to my body. What I've realized is why I needed to do some things in a certain way. For example, I could choose when I did my business degree, studying in the morning, going to the university at 8 a.m. in the morning, or going from 4 to 10. I chose to go from 4 to 10. Why? Because I can really concentrate more at the studying at night and in the morning when nobody is at home. So as a very creative person, I can be easily distracted as well. So why I'm saying this to the person who was asking the question, the first thing is to realize or to understand if this is something that happens to you or happens to the rest of the people. Then if it only happens to you, does it always happens to you all your life? Or maybe it's in a certain moment of your life that you cannot concentrate? Because then if it is a certain moment, you may need to investigate and to learn if it may be because your brain is oversaturated, is burnout, is because of the saturation that we have with social media. So it comes back really to understand about you. And then, to be honest, there is no job where you don't have tasks that you don't like. I mean, there are tasks that are really pleasant for some people, some other people hate them. So when I give master classes or talks on entrepreneurship, I always say the same thing when the people come. Say, look, if you are here because you hate your boss and you want to have no boss from now on, you can still leave because you are going to have the worst boss ever, which is yourself. If you think that being an entrepreneur is working with the feet on the table from an island, yes, eventually you may do that. And you may not have 1 month holidays because you will be traveling with your computer anywhere
Working,
you are.
absolutely.
And again, so to this person asking if what you are saying is that you don't like a specific task, I don't think there is going to ever be a job where you would like 100% of what you do. There are always tasks that we don't like. If the question is that you don't like it, okay, work hard until you can hire someone that is going to do the tasks that you don't like, number one. But if it is something that you feel that you don't have the brain capacity or you are really struggling with the task, I would say investigate with yourself, with a psychologist, with a coach, what is really the block that you have. It may be a mental block that you are procrastinating, or it may be really that you need to rewire your brain, doing meditation, taking more breaks, stopping social media, or there may be something else.
Right, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for taking a stab at that. Funmilayo, please comment back if you know your question was answered and if you are clear with that. Thank you so much for asking as well. Gracie, welcome back. What happened to you? Network.
No, I think my device is just hot. I don't know.
Oh,
And I think
it goes off
yes,
when it
it
gets
just
hot.
goes
Yeah.
off when it gets really hot.
Okay.
So I need to check that.
Okay, I see. Okay, yeah. So, but again, I don't know where you heard Stefania last, but she really took a good step at the question you asked to take us through the journey, of our career and the frustration part. But if you want to continue with your question, I can leave the floor for you.
Yes, and I mean, I liked when you talked about being frustrated, which is why this topic is very interesting, and I'm sure some people will watch this later and see the need to check themselves personally. So now the brain has the creative side and the logical part and everything, and then some people are more expressive, creatively. When you mentioned that you didn't like what you were doing when you were doing it, and you wanted a place where you'd be more expressive and show your creative side, what can you, based on the experience and even teaching people to know that when you have a boss, because for instance an entrepreneur wants to do things themselves, and because you don't have any boss, maybe your bill is your boss. Your bill, when you see your bill, you know that, look, I need to put in more effort, right? So what do you have to say to someone that is very creative and expressive, however, they need to build some key qualities that can help them be disciplined when they get to that point of expressing themselves, their creativity, and some of those things? Did you get my question?
Yeah, I think I'm understanding what you mean. Yes.
Okay, so yes, so that's it.
And this is what you are asking is very common within creative people or people who want to launch their business, that they have a fantastic creative idea, but then what you need is a structure. And the path of an entrepreneur is extremely lonely. When you are in an organization, the organization itself is going to push you to learn new things. Okay, it's a survival thing, and you will learn from your colleagues. But when you are alone, especially if you start very, very young without a previous experience in a corporation, if you are creative, getting that structure is not going to be easy. So probably there are two things that can help. One is having an accountability group. Okay, people that are working as entrepreneurs as well, so you can help each other and have that accountability that you need. If you cannot find that group, because sometimes it is impossible, do it with a coach or a mentor or someone that can be with you every week and can detect that parts that you need a structure. Because when you have an external, whether it is a peer-to-peer with a colleague or with a group of peers or with a coach, you are getting that structure that you need. Okay, unless you are a very, very structured person, but we are talking about a person that is creative, that wants to launch and is missing that structure. So I think that you need that part of an external, call it whatever, peer, colleague, mentor, coach, that can help you with that accountability in that structure. Because again, if you have a very creative mind, maybe you are not so as structured. Same applies to someone that is very process oriented, very logical, let's say more of an engineering mind, that they may need help with the creative part. So we cannot pretend to excel at everything and anything, because we don't. Simply. So help external support with someone that can help you be structured.
I love
Was
it.
that what you were asking?
Very, very apt. I love it, because particularly, many people miss it, and that's the part that is essential. You getting help, getting someone that you be accountable to, and then growing from there. Thank you. Over to you, the energetic.
Thank you so much, Stefania. I just love how you're rounded. Like, your 30 years of experience is not a waste. You're quite well rounded, and thank you for giving us insight on all of those things. Now, speak to a young person, and it's almost close to what Gracie just talked about. Using your own story, right? From again, I think I'm still unclear on what your frustration was, because yes, you moved a lot from the different, not necessarily like wide career path, but like maybe roles. Like you said, you move from different roles that now in hindsight, you're like, oh, thank God I went through that route, because now I'm like, I can feel this person's pain. I can feel this person's pain. I can see things from different angles. But what was it exactly that was your frustration, and how did that frustration help you pivot into who you are today?
Yeah, there was not only one frustration. That's what I have different roles. There were different frustrations as I kept on growing in my career. So one of the biggest that really set the foundations of the personal branding without me knowing anything at all about what personal branding was, it was in a company that, funny enough, I recently found some files where I was writing about a strategy, and it's like, wow, it was very early in my career, and I was already writing about the strategy. So what happened with this company? I entered a new sector where I had no idea, but after a while, I felt that we were just manufacturing, but we were not getting the full picture about what was the problem really that we were solving. So we could, well, the sector was ceramics, right? So we were selling tiles, and all our communications and the way to sell our product was, we are selling tiles. But I took it to an upper level in terms of a strategy, and realized that we were selling really was lifestyle. And we really needed to connect with how the customer was now living in the areas where we were selling the tiles, because the bathroom was not a bathroom anymore. It was a place almost like a spa. The kitchen, it was not a kitchen anymore. It was a place to socialize. So I started to talk about this inside the company, and they didn't tell that I was dumb and crazy, but almost. Nobody listened to me. And what I did with that frustration, it was, I do really want to talk about this. I don't want to be silenced. And then I started finding different ways to talk about that. I started writing articles for press. And again, I was probably 24 at the time. So there was no people talking about personal branding at that time. I had no idea what it was a coach. And I started writing articles. And then I contacted the university, and we brainstorming ideas. We came with the first marketing club in the province. And then I did my first public speaking gig with them. And then after a few months, we started creating a community as well. So without knowing, I was learning on how to build your personal brand apart from what you do inside the organization, to the point that my then boss called me one day, come to my meeting room, very serious. And I was like, oh my God, let's see what is going to happen today. He showed me the newspaper and he told me, now you're writing for the press. I'm getting calls from a couple of CEOs from our competitors saying that it's very interesting what you are saying, that we really needed to look at this, at the lifestyle. Why you never told me about this? And I'm like, well, I tried a couple of times, but it seems that it was not a topic that was interesting for the company. So imagine what was happening, that my reputation was starting to be built and recognized. And I promise you, I had no intention. I had no idea about that. It was just my frustration of, I know that I have something to tell. I'll try first inside the company. I couldn't. And it was like, I'm not going to allow this frustration to stop me from what I want to do. At that time, I was not enjoying public speaking. My first public speaking gig at the university, I was sitting, I was reading. It was zero enjoyment in there, but there was something deeper, that was that frustration that cracked and let me see that I wanted to communicate something. So that, I would say, that was one of the biggest frustrations that really took me to a new and different level. That was the base of what I'm doing currently with personal branding, supporting other leaders.
I love it. I love it. You know why I'm smiling? Because it aligns deeply with what we do here on Your Voice, Your Impact. Is to say that honestly, if you really sit down and think about it, you have a voice. Like there's something, a topic, an area, a subject that's either it frustrates you or it excites you or it gets you emotional every time you talk about this thing. And if you're able to tap into that emotion, whether it's frustration, because again, frustration is an emotion, right? If you're able to tap into that emotion, whether it's frustration, excitement, anger, just wanting to make a difference or a change, then it activates your voice. And if you step out, whether in faith or in fear, and you continue to show up, the voice will keep forming until it becomes this voice that is unstoppable. And that's what you just shared in your story, to say that, okay, I spoke up in the small, within the confines of your work. And even though they're not listening, you did not allow. I just love how you did allow that frustration to it drove you, but it's like it did not mislead you, right? Because you could have just easily gotten angry, like this company, they don't listen to me, they don't, and then you start acting up in the office to the point of them like, what is wrong with you, and then send you out. But I love how you were able to like, okay, if you guys won't listen to me, I need to find those who will listen to me, until other people listened, paid attention, and brought the attention of your company, to what you're already saying. And I think really, it's really interesting how it truly ties into what you do now as a personal brand, which is as a personal brand strategist, which is that, see, even within your career path as an employee, you can actually build something for yourself outside of your work, right? And it's interesting to know that, with your story, you didn't even know what it was called back then. You just went, you just dove right in and showed up. I'm curious to know, what was the end result of that when your company eventually discovered that, oh my God, this woman is her voice is being raised? What did they do, and how are you able to handle that within the company? Did you leave? Did you get a promotion, or what happened with your career?
No, not the promotion. There was a point, and I would say that coming back to the question that you did at the beginning, which has been my main frustration. I mean, there have been many. That's why I have evolved in my career as well. But there is something really powerful that is intuition, that I use a lot. And I listen to my body, because for whatever reason, I cannot not listen to my body. I mean, it speaks really loud when something is not right. And they wanted to do a change inside the department where I was working, which didn't feel right in terms of, I would say, well-being from the person who was going to become my boss. And that meant that we wouldn't continue working together. And back to the definition, or what I understood as what I understood that is frustration, is that hidden door that is on the backside of the frustration, what is waiting for you, right? This, we said that at the beginning. So behind that frustration of nobody listens to me inside the company, they think that this is stupid, it was the door to the university, and the connections, by the way, that I built then are still valid today. I'm working with them, and it's been an amazing opportunity. And how it allowed me to discover my writing skills, my strategic voice when I was 24, and I had no idea about the difference between strategy and tactic in marketing, because it was quite at the beginning of my career. So no, I didn't continue with them, and that was the start of a new path, I would say, which was moving to a new city And through that city is how I came to Dubai.
That's such a beautiful story. I'm curious, lovely story. But you've said this like 2 or 3 times already, and I want to know because I'm thinking, okay, I don't think I know how to. So maybe you can share with us. How do we listen to our body?
Short response, meditation, breathing. It really helps us to start developing the muscle of listening to our body. Some of us, we have that muscle built since birth, which I can tell is not funny because you can fail a lot, but you need to take it to your own advantage. If you don't have that ability, is start connecting with your body, with the breath and with meditation. Because you will be little by little more connected. And yoga was massive for me. There is a before and after that. It really helped me, and the type of yoga that I've been doing, which is hatha yoga, which is slower and staying on the pose. It really allows you to notice every single thing in your body. The more you do it, the more you will develop that sense of understanding what is going on with your body, and of course with meditation. So I would say those disciplines, which are obviously interconnected, because in reality, and that would be the talk for a different podcast, yoga at the beginning was more meditation than the physical asanas that we do nowadays. But just to summarize it for the people who are watching, yoga, meditation, breathing are 3 disciplines that in reality are all part of yoga, but you can start by breathing exercises to really start calming down your body and understanding those signals that the body is giving us.
So, but how do we even recognize the signs? What kind of signs are we looking out for? Is it yeah? What kind of signs am I looking out for to say, okay, my body is trying to give me a signal. Now I need to stay still, to breathe, to focus on my breath, so that I can listen to what my body. What are some signals that the brain receives to ensure that, okay, it's trying to tell me something?
I guess the signs that your body sends you are different from each person, but they can range from itching or feeling like a knot inside your body on your stomach, or it can feel like a burning sensation or a fullness, a repression, tightness on your muscles, for example. And depending on the time of your life or your career, you may feel it in different ways. You can feel it on your neck, on your shoulders, which is typical. It can feel on your stomach, on your chest, upper chest, or maybe in your hands. Again, this is different for each person, but definitely if you develop the ability to relax, then you develop as well the ability to understand when you are not on your normal state. If you're always in tension or always stressed, you cannot understand anything from your body, because let's say that you are clogging all your senses. While if you learn at least to relax 5 minutes per day, 10 minutes per day, and to take that time to sit, breathe, go to a body scan, which is a very good technique. You start scanning from your feet, different parts of your body, just observing, okay, without judging, observing. Then little by little, you will start recognizing, wow, now I'm feeling that I'm different to when I do this body scan.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. As you speak about, especially the body scan, I could remember going through I think it was 8 weeks, either 8 weeks or 12 weeks course in 2020 during COVID with Coach Shazard. It's called the Positive Intelligence, PQ.
Yes, yeah, I know about it.
That was when I really learned about this, being aware of your senses, your 5 senses. And I love how he was able to break it down into integrating that into your day. Like on a daily basis, we have timings, at every hour, at every intervals, you take just 2 minutes, like, and it's beautiful what 2 minutes break can do for you to help you recenter, which is you're
Yes.
focusing on just one sense, whether it's the sense of taste, the sense of hearing, the sense of sight, the sense of feel, of touch, and just focusing on that sense for 2 minutes. It is powerful. And I thank you for bringing that back. I'm like, yeah, please, you want to
Yes.
say something?
And if you allow me, I'd like to really highlight with what you just said, because if you can do those breaks during the day a couple of times, it's fantastic. During the day, you can start by a powerful meditation, but then if you start being super saturated, calls, notifications, emails, maybe you are saturating again your body and you don't listen. So escaping to these 2 minutes breathing exercise, or coming back to your senses, what you are smelling, what you are tasting, what you are feeling with your touch, several times during the day, is super powerful because it brings you back. When I was working in Nokia, I used to escape to the toilet to do my breathing exercises. And for me, it was like a reset button. I would arrive to work, maybe after 2-3 hours, there was a lot of stress because brand activations, etc. It means really movement. I would go, I would sit, do my pranayama exercises, the breathing, come back, like if it was again 8 a.m. in the morning, fresh as a rose.
So I think there was a little glitch in the network, but I'm back now. I love it. As we just spoke about it, I'm like, ooh, it's been a while, EJ. You haven't really, tapped into that powerful exercise. And I love it. I think I remembered it just recently, and I'm like, ooh, that is so good when you're able to and just getting into that practice would help anyone see how truly off tuned we are with our senses, how we are on serious autopilots. Like you're just coasting, you're just going, you're not even aware of what's going on even in your body. And that's why I asked that question, like, how do we listen to our body? And I remember that with the breathing exercise with Coach Shazad is to train your ears to hear the farthest sound and then even come back to your own breathing, the closest sound to you. And it's such a beautiful practice. If you can master it, it really truly helps you center. All right, so thank you so much for sharing. And as we prepare to wrap up the session, is to say that if you were going to leave us with practical steps for anyone, regardless of your industry or your age or the situation that is your source of frustration, let me put it that way. If you're going to highlight, like, if for nothing, if you heard nothing we said today, if you go with this 1, 2, 3 steps or 1, 2, 3 mindset, it can help you every time you find yourself in a situation that feels like frustration. What would you share with us to help us practically go away to say, I remember what Steph said, let me quickly do that to help me deal with this frustration? What would you share with us?
To summarize all what we've said, and it came through our conversation, frustration usually is signaling a lack of alignment. Okay, that we want to do something or that we can't, or that we are being asked to do something that doesn't align with our values and with our purpose. Maybe we don't know at that time, but it's the first signal to say, hey, this doesn't work with you. Okay, so considering what I was saying at the beginning, that we can either say, okay, so I'm frustrated, I'm going to stay in this job forever, or abandon, or making a plan. The steps, I would say, that is first, understanding yourself. This is number one. And understanding yourself is listening to your body, all that we were talking, right? Understanding what you need and what you want. Okay. And that may come with a purpose as well. What is the impact that you want to create? And then in front of any frustration, I think there is always the opportunity to develop one part of yourself. So I am not a fan of giving up quickly. Otherwise, you would be changing jobs every 1 month. So first, try, do your best. Again, work with a psychologist, join a course, a group of entrepreneurs or a group of colleagues in that sector, a coach, you name it. But try to push yourself to learn, at least at the beginning, how to deal with that situation and to learn more. Maybe you will learn about meditation because you are really frustrated about the noise in your office or a boss that you have. And meanwhile, you find another solution, is the fantastic moment to use your meditation skills. So again, going to the steps that you were asking, start by knowing about yourself, listening to yourself, to your body, your needs, your goals and aspirations. Then ask, what is the opportunity even in that frustrating situation? Not to accept that as forever in your life, but as an opportunity to develop something that can be useful later on. Because again, if you give up, most of the times you haven't learned anything. Quick story, in one company that I really didn't like at all the leadership because it was really unhealthy and toxic. What I did before the next job, it was to create a list of the type of leadership that I wanted to work with. I reframed it into something positive, okay? If I leave this company frustrated, this is terrible, maybe I'm going to find the same. But, and this would be the fourth step, reframe this into something positive, the learning of what would I like to happen in a next role. Maybe you need to transform yourself as well before you reach that new role. And then I would say that the fifth step, it would be to share it with others. So you've already gone through that frustration, make that be your purpose. And if I have time, just to add the last frustration, well, the last before the next one, because there will be a new one for sure. So I'll keep on learning. How I landed the TED Talks that you were mentioning at the beginning, I was working in a company. We just reached the UAE, and I was told by some of the people who were working already in the UAE is that we really needed to generate trust because we were unknown. It was a Spanish company. So what I proposed, it would be fantastic to be on the TED stage, presenting some of the impact that we have had on society as a company, as a way to be seen into the entrepreneurial and innovation sector and start being related to those individuals. And they laughed at me, especially one person, which was the manager in that moment, said, "You are kidding me? Who would be on a stage?" And I said, "Well, if you give me the time, I can commit myself to prepare." "You are kidding. Haha, forget about this idea. It's stupid." That day, I knew that one day I would be on the TED stage. So that was the ignition. Again, there was a door. And when they offered me the TED Talk, believe me, it was not the best moment. It was not those moments in your career that you are like, I would like to be there. They knocked on my door in 2023, was the first one, or 22. And I said, well, I said many years back, one day I would be on the TED stage. Now they are looking for me. I can say no. But make all those frustrations the purpose to inspire others as well and to become a better leader. So that would be the 5 steps.
So good. So good. Gracie, I'm so sorry about your phone.
Apparently, it wasn't even the phone and it wasn't the network. So there was something strange that was happening because I logged on with my other phone and it didn't still come up. So maybe there was a glitch, maybe StreamYard or something. I don't know. So what I did was I now, I had to restart my phone. I had to do a lot of things. I was just frustrated. I was like, I'm missing. But I'm happy. Do you know how good things are these days? I will be calm and then I'll try to do what I have to do. I said, okay, so I can't get on this, so I should just restart. So I just did that, and I'm back. I don't know. I hope I'm here till this end so that I can figure out what the problem really is. But I'm back. I'm glad that I'm back, even though we'll be rounding up soon.
I know it was a good conversation. No worry, we need to go and watch it again because I couldn't even take notes because it was so good. I was just in the conversation. But yeah, I think Steph. I hope I can call you Steph, but let me call you Stefania. I don't know why
As you wish. Stefania is fine.
I don't know why I love shortening people's name, but yeah, it's really interesting, your journey and how you. For me, I think my takeaway from this conversation, and I actually need to go watch it again so that I can take the notes and we can create the quotes or nuggets from this session, is how you've been able to master the journey enough to be able to distill the lessons and the practicality of it. And I think that's just really beautiful and in what you're doing now, right? So as we're wrapping up, I don't know if Gracie has, I know you missed a bit, but probably you just have one more question, but that's also going to be dependent on Stefania. Do you have a few more minutes, or because I know you're also on time?
Yes, I'm fine.
Okay. So if you have a few more minutes, okay. Grace can just maybe touch on some topics, but then if Grace is done, we can now ask, how people can maybe work with you, connect with you, and things like that. Grace?
Sure.
So you'd like me to reply before? Because you were asking about, or you'd like Grace to ask me another question?
Yes, Grace.
Oh, you were asking her a question, but you didn't finish the question.
Was I? What was it?
Yeah.
What was that? I forgot.
How
As you came on, I think.
it, or how I've been able to take the practicality of the frustration.
Oh yeah, no, I was just affirming that with what you've shared so far. Like, I love how you have been able to distill the lessons and just share it with us practically, because as you were sharing those 5 steps, it wasn't just like you were just pointing out things. You were looking at your story and giving us the steps based on your experience, and I think that's really powerful. Yeah, that's what I was just trying to say, just to summarize what you shared. So if Grace has something, let's go for it before.
Yeah, my final question would be around the frustration in itself. Does it end? And if it doesn't end, what should people prepare their minds, for, and how should they handle it when it comes? Does it end? Maybe I should be. Does it ever end? What do you think about that?
For me, it never ends. And I think if you are a curious person, a driven professional, someone that wants to excel and do things and do better, I don't think that ever ends. And I think as human beings, we always want to do things better, achieve more. And I'm not talking about the superficial success of I want to have a better house or I want to have a better car. When it comes from within, you may want to have a better well-being and mental health for your work. So if you ever have 3 projects that you want to choose, and 2 of them are not going to contribute to your mental health, you are going to discard those and you're going to choose the one that aligns more. But maybe there is one moment that you cannot, and then you need to invent something else. And then is when that hidden door that is behind the frustration can open for you. So I don't think really that it ever ends. Also because your needs are going to change throughout your life. You don't need the same on your 20s that on your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, 70s. So it wouldn't because you are evolving.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're watching Breeze Up. The frustration gets bigger as you evolve. And I think I'm going to end with this. When you research and check the people that built America, from the likes of their names have just escaped my head now, the Rockefellers and all the people that built America. I remember Thomas Edison and all the popular names. They said that their breakthrough came when they were most frustrated. Their breakthrough came when they were most frustrated. And that frustration is a sign that you're almost there, because frustration is like a turmoil that needs clarity to get to the next level. So, I mean, I think that is what I'm going to take away from all, if we were to, because you have, in a way, talked about it, but based on these giants that have created things, and you wrapping up with what you said, that it never ends, I would say that brace up. You're going to be frustrated, but you have to surmount it and, keep going. That's all from me.
Absolutely.
Change the
Never
mindset.
ends.
Understand that every new frustration is giving you a new opportunity.
New results. Yeah.
A new opportunity to grow and to expand and to evolve. It's almost like it's a portal, it's a doorway to your next level. So you either go through it or you stop right there, and you miss out on what could be next, right?
I love it. I love it. Now I'm curious. I'd love to go through that door.
Yeah, exactly. How can people connect with you? What's the best way for people to follow your work? Or if they wanted to work with you on a personal branding level, how can they do that?
Yes, they can follow mainly on LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm present as well on TikTok, but mainly the platform where they can connect with me is LinkedIn. Drop me a message, drop a comment, and then we can take it from there. And if there is any workshop that I deliver, any online session, I always announce it as well. So I would tell them to connect with me on LinkedIn, and would be my pleasure to support.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Stefania, for being here today and for sharing your story and sharing your lessons as well on this journey, your career journey, and your relationship with frustration, and letting us know it will never end. So the earlier we learn how to relate with it, the better for us. And we can keep opening those hidden doors behind the frustration. All right, guys, thank you so much for being a part of today's conversation. Our career conversations continue next week, and actually to the end of October. And then in November, we're going to switch gears and speak to the men. I'm always excited about talking to men, because the way they think, it's interesting, and it's just interesting to see that, or to hear and to engage with them on a mind level. So we're looking forward to that. But for the rest of October, we're still talking career. So we have a new guest next week, and then the final Monday in October. Can you believe it? Like, just like that, Q4 is also going. Please brace up, and we're hoping that the rest of the year is going to be fantastic for you as you face this frustration and allow those doors to lead you to your next level. This is the energetic EJ. Until we come your way again next week, with yet another episode on Your Voice, Your Impact. Remember, you have a voice. Your voice is for impact, and we are here to encourage you to use it. All right? We'll see you next week. Bye. Bye. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.